Hello, and welcome to Unabridged, the weekly podcast where teachers take on books. This is Sara. Join us for bookish episodes and a monthly book club pick.
This is Ashley. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Unabridged Pod, or go to our website, unabridgedpod.com, where the books we read are linked for purchase.
This is Jen. Check out our Teachers Pay Teachers store, our Patreon page, and our newsletter. Please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts to support us. You want opinions about books? We've got them.
Hello, everyone. Sara here for another teaching tidbit. Today, I wanted to talk about the power of graphic novels. And I want to start by admitting that in the beginning, I was kind of skeptical of graphic novels. I thought that they weren't as legitimate for a kid to read as a chapter book. And what I have found through my experience in the classroom and with my own son who loves graphic novels, and for a while, that is the only thing that I could get him to read. What I found is that they really are a great way for kids to find the love of reading. Graphic novels become a great access point to opening up and expanding into reading more difficult text. And what I've also found is that I have found some amazing graphic novels that I have adored and have become some of my favorite books I've read. My idea is that you could use graphic memoirs in a lit circle format to then kind of springboard into a more intensive study of full memoirs or biographies, but the graphic novels wouldn't take long to read, and there are some excellent graphic memoirs available. And before I get started on just 3 recommendations, I also want to point you to Jen's Bookish Fave from this past Monday. She did a whole blog post on some great graphic memoirs and she makes recommendations for older readers and younger readers. So I'm going to focus on 3 today, but her post provides a more extensive list. Plus, you could always Google graphic memoirs for middle school, and I'm sure that you could also get a great list there. The 3 that I'm going to recommend are, number 1, Jarrett Krasaska's Hey Kiddo. We actually have an episode that we did where we talked about this particular graphic memoir. This graphic memoir is about Jarrett's childhood, living and not living with a parent who is struggling with addiction. And it is very powerful. Jarrett does the illustrations. He, of course, wrote the story, and it is just a powerful novel, and it is excellent. I think this would be best for either older readers or your more advanced readers, but it is a great graphic memoir, and I highly recommend it. The second one is Cece Bell's El Defo, and this memoir is about her growing up and losing her hearing and how that impacted her life at school and with her family. And this one is one of my favorite books I've ever read. I just loved it so much. I read it and then I gave it to my son, and he's sometimes reluctant to read books. He's at that age where he doesn't want to read a book about, maybe a female character as the main character. But actually he's getting out of that, and he really loved Roller Girl too, which is a graphic novel, but not a memoir. But anyway, with El Defo, he read it. And he immediately read it again. He loved it. It's funny, but it's poignant. So I highly recommend that. So that's the second one. The third one, if you have students who are interested in history and are really interested in World War II era, I'm going to recommend Mouse, A Survivor's Tale, My Father Bleeds History. And this is by Art Spiegelman, and he interviewed his father about his experience as a Jewish man and a Holocaust survivor, and then wrote this book, and it is actually a series. So this is another one that would provide a really rich reading experience for students, and then also a really great addition to this graphic memoir lit circle scenario, because it is a memoir, but it is also historical. And I think that with El Defo, Hey Kiddo, and Mouse, this would provide a lot of really rich conversation. And I mean, really, kids, I think if they like one, then that might propel them to read the others that their classmates are reading because they're shorter. And if they figure out that they like graphic memoir, it's a great stepping stone to liking biographies or memoirs or reading about real, true nonfiction stories. And sometimes nonfiction stories are a harder thing to get students to read. So I really believe in, and I am a converted believer in the power of graphic novels and memoirs to be an access point for students who are reluctant to read, for students who don't really like reading, or just for people who enjoy a visual along with a narrative story. And I think that these are a great, great choice. Again, I'm going to point you to Jen's Bookish Fave post from this past Monday. It's also about graphic memoir. And if you have any questions, concerns, comments, we are always available. Just hit us up on social media, send us an email. But I really hope that you will try graphic novels, especially with a focus on graphic memoirs in your classroom, because I think it can be really enriching experience for students to read these stories of other people's experiences, but also have that visual to go along with it, especially for students who may struggle with reading. I hope you've enjoyed this teaching tidbit, and I will see you next time. Do you have comments or opinions about what you heard today? We'd love to hear them.
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Unabridged Pod, or on the web at unabridgedpod.com for a list of ways to support us.
We'd like to thank Jared Featherstone, who composed our theme music, Strings of Light, and Katie Amy of Amy Photography, our podcast photographer. Thanks for listening to Unabridged.